Welcome back to week 14 Prop Shop. I'm your host, Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday on Twitter, rocking with the GoldBoys. Normally, I got my opening monologue. We have an awesome game tonight. I have a full touchdown liquor cabinet. I have a cross-board parlay. I don't want to bore you with anything. I do like the Houston Rockets to win the play-in tournament. I watched them play Minnesota last week, followed up by Oklahoma City. If they can get three-point shooting, I love the Houston Rockets, at least for the NBA Cup. If you can get them at the NBA Cup, it's plus 750, I think, over on FanDuel. They are probably my favorite NBA League Pass team to watch right now. I love that Udoka got fined. I just love watching the team. They're fiery. They could use a little bit better shooting, but the night that I'm talking about against Oklahoma City, Fred VanVleet went off. He hit like a 40-footer to tie the game in a clutch moment. It was just really cool to see. They're deep. They have tons of talent. They have two of the best wing defenders in the league in Tari Eason and Thompson. So jump on the Rockets bandwagon now. It's going to get a lot more fun later in the season. Let's talk about Thursday night football. We're deep into it. It's week 14. It's been a whole season, guys. Thank you for tailing with us. But we're already at week 14. The Packers are heading to Detroit. 3.5-point favorite for Detroit. Total is sitting at 52.5. Detroit won the game in Lambeau earlier in the season. I think it was 24-14, but the teams look a little bit differently now. Let's talk about last week. Lions won the week 9. The team looking differently is attributed mostly to key injuries on both sides of the ball. Packers should be without Jari Alexander, Corey Ballentine, another corner, and Romeo Doubs. The Lions, you could throw a dart at anyone on the roster on the defensive side of the ball, and they're probably on IR. But the big names are defensive tackle DJ Reader, DN Josh Paschal, DN Levi, not pronouncing that. At this point in the season, everyone is hobbled. Both teams are looking for guys to step up. The Lions currently sit atop the NFC playoff picture. They're 11-1. The Packers are sitting in the 6th seed at 9-3, just behind Minnesota in the 5th seed. So the NFC North has been awesome this year, with the exception of the Bears, who are still not a bad team. But even if the Lions drop this game, they're still going to be sitting atop the NFC. I lean Detroit given the 3.5. The fact that this is a divisional game, it's over 3.5. Even though they have all those issues on the defensive side of the ball, they're not playing bad defensively. They've been able to overcompensate for that. And then offensively, they're the best team in the league. With everything I've just said, before we get into my bets, I want to tell you guys to not be overzealous. If we look at Monday Night Football, that game was awesome from a betting standpoint. Scoring, touchdowns, yards, the whole shebang. That's going to lead you into overbetting the shit out of tonight, and I don't want to see you do that. The total is at 52.5. Don't sit there and go, well, Montgomery and Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft and Amon-Ra St. Brown, all 4 of those touchdown scores in my same game parlay, and some alt lines of Christian Watson and some of this and the receptions for Sam Laporta. Do not build that parlay. You're going to be pissing money away. One of these big names is going to shit the bed. We know that. Instead, I highly, highly recommend take 1 to 2 guys. Take a Christian Watson 50 yards. Take a Tucker Kraft touchdown. Take an Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown. Take an alt line on Jaden Reed. Just do 2 legs. It can be very overwhelming if you try to fit every offensive player on the Detroit Lions into a same-game parlay. We may not get a Gibbs and a Monty touchdown each, and they're minus 160. Don't even put that in your parlay. It's not worth the money you're spending. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams. Don't put all 3. Don't put 2 out of 3. So I know the total is going to entice you to do that. I know the names in this game are going to entice you to do that. Pick 1 to 2 guys. Pick 1 to 2 legs. Do an alt line and a touchdown. And I guarantee you will come out profitable if you at least spread it out that way. Do not put everything into one same game parlay. That is my advice before we go into my plays. With that, let's talk about Sam Laporta over 38.5 receiving yards. Laporta's starting to round off into playoff shape. You remember earlier in the season, we weren't getting what we expected. We thought he was going to be him and Dalton Kincaid were going to be 2 of the top 3 tight ends in the NFL. That hasn't been the case so far. But since he's come back from injury, he's looked more like him. Now, last week, he has 2 touchdowns on 3 receptions and 6 yards. The 2 touchdowns were fun for us. I think we hit them on the Thanksgiving game. But it's not the full stat sheet you want to see. I think we get a little bit better in the receiving column from him. The Packers represent a weaker matchup defensively than he's seen recently. So Green Bay allowing the 7th most receiving yards to opposing tight ends. He's hit this in 2 of 3 career games against Green Bay. And this is the third best tight end matchup of the week, according to PFF, in terms of their grading him versus the linebacker of the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have allowed a tight end to hit this mark in 3 straight weeks. I think we're getting a good number at 38.5 on him because of how slow he's been over the middle over the middle of the season, and then 2 games since returning. But his matchups were tough. So I like this matchup from a receiving yard standpoint. Laporta over 38.5. I saw some 40.5s. I still like it there. He should be more involved in the passing game for Detroit. So Laporta 1 unit over 38.5 receiving yards is my play. Hey, folks, if you're getting started with FanDuel, which would be a shocker, there's no better time than now. Place a $5 bet. If your bet wins, you'll receive 150 in bonus bets. Don't blow them all on this game. It's an incredible way to kickstart your betting journey with FanDuel. Head over to the link in the episode description to get started. It must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Like I said in the open, I don't want you to overload on this. Can you guys hear me? See me? Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties here. You know what? We're in week 14, and that's the first time the stream cut out. Shout out to producer Tone. We've had no issues all season except for right now. That's a pretty damn good record. So shout out to the producer. Tone's a man. Isaiah Hartenstein, double minus 115 for 1 unit. Toronto, just a great matchup for bigs in terms of rebounding and scoring. Hart has had double digit. I'm sorry, Hartenstein. I call him Hart has double digit scoring in 5 of 6, double digit rebounding in 5 of 6 since returning from injury this season. Gobert, Jared Allen, Zubac, Nick Richard, Gobert again, all had 10 plus rebounds against Toronto. In the last 13 centers against the Raptors have scored in double digits. Great spot here at nearly even money if you can get the minus 115. This was on Bet365 for me. I think Hartenstein has a big game. Jakob Poeltl's questionable as of now. I was looking at Underdog for any updates. I still think he's questionable going into the slate. Yes. As of 3 p.m. Eastern time, Jakob Poeltl is questionable. I like Hartenstein double either way. He's a big piece of what they've been doing. And minus 115 on this is a decent price. So Hartenstein double, 1 unit over an NBA. Big NBA slate tonight. I didn't want to overload you guys with picks because I love the touchdown liquor cabinet for tonight, obviously with 52.5. And then I have a cross-sport parlay. There's a bunch of NBA angles. If you go over to that Chicago Bulls Spurs game, there's no Wemby, there's no Kobe White. I posted this on Twitter. Clearly, if you're here, you've seen me on Twitter. I didn't pull up the ticket, so Tony, you're not looking for something I didn't send. Giddy double is plus 210, and Brandon Podsmansky double is plus 900. This is on Bet365. I parlayed them together at 30-1. For Giddy, the only game this season that Kobe White didn't play, he had a triple double. For Podsmansky, there's no Draymond, there's no Steph. I went back and reviewed last year's numbers. I think he had one double in the 4 games that Draymond and Steph didn't play. So it's a tough matchup with Houston. I won't deny that, but getting a probably 30 minutes to 35 minutes of Brandon Pods. I'm going to roll the dice on that. Put those in at 30-1. That's not my cross sport. That's just a lotto that I love tonight. Before we go into the touchdown liquor cabinet, a couple words from my boy Brad Thomas.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the GoldBoys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the GoldBoys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Hey, fellas. So my apologies for not looking at the chat earlier. I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulties in terms of in and out. Keep letting us know if it's not as great as it should be. We normally don't have these issues. I just got my docking station fixed, so maybe it's something on my end. Apologies for that. touchdown liquor cabinet in a 52.5 point game that everybody's looking forward to. My top shelf, my 1 unit. Give me Jaden Reed at plus 160. I don't care that he had 2 last week. I try to look at things more through a bubble than anything else. Take last week, throw it out the window. There's no Romeo Dobbs. Reed against this Detroit defense. I think he did Amon-Ra St. Brown's podcast earlier in the season after their like week 8 win, or sorry, after the Packers week 8 loss, and he was like, watch what I do in Detroit. So I'm going to believe Jaden Reed on that. Getting plus 160 on him with no Dobbs in a 52.5 game, that's a full unit from me. To go down to the mid shelf. Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams. Sam Laporta plus 240, Jamison Williams plus 220. Same thing about last week. 2 touchdowns for Laporta. That means he's not going to score this week. Bullshit. Throw that out the window. I'm getting plus 240 on Laporta. They're really honing in on him in the red zone the last few weeks. So 2.5 to 1 is decent odds. And then Jamison Williams, he can take the top off at any point, and there's so many injuries to the cornerback group of Green Bay. So these 2 guys get half the unit on my mid shelf. I really like how I stagger it. I go a full unit on a Green Bay guy, the Green Bay guy, not named Josh Jacobs. And then my mid shelf, I'm throwing darts at Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams. I'm not playing Gibbs. I'm not playing Montgomery. It's not worth it to me. If you can get Amon-Ra St. Brown at plus money, I saw minus 105, not for me. You get a plus 105, a plus 110 on him, or if you want to throw him with a Detroit money line, you get like plus 140. I think that's a good play. But one of these 2 guys for Detroit, I feel confident in scoring tonight, and I'm getting over 200 on both. So half a unit on those guys. And then, as Tone mentioned, we have a live boost. As soon as kickoff happens, throw it on Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can probably get it up to plus 130, plus 150. Great call there. Vaca, 2 touchdown scores. Jaden Reed, he did 2 last week. I think he does 2 this week at plus 1,200. That would be something, yes, but what he mentioned on the podcast, yeah, I'll take it. And how banged up this Detroit defense is, I think he goes off. Could be a big night for Jaden Reed. So 2 touchdowns at plus 1,200. Bring that down. 1/10 of a unit, a bonus bet, a no sweat bet, whatever you got. Jaden Reed, 2 touchdowns. Cross Sport Lotto. God, I love doing these. This is my favorite bet to make every single time I do a show. It's not my straight plays. Those I do. I get them out, yada, yada, yada. Touchdown liquor cabinet. I'm throwing out 3 to 4 touchdown scores. I'm hoping I hit 1 to cover my bets, maybe 2 or make some profit. My Cross Sport Lotto is my favorite bet to build for this show. I had a $50 no sweat bet from Tuesday Night NBA I haven't used yet. I'm putting it on this. Each team to score 1 rushing and 1 receiving touchdown at plus 155. Has nothing to do with the half. Each team to get a rushing touchdown. Each team to get a receiving touchdown. On the Detroit end, we know the 2 running backs. On the Green Bay end, Josh Jacobs. These guys are chalk to all hell. That's on the receiving end. At plus 155, I would play this straight as it is for 1 unit, but I'm throwing this in my Cross Sport Lotto. Harrison Barnes, 6+ rebounds at plus 130. I think he's had 4 games this season with no Wemby. He's gone 6+ in 3 of the 4. Brandon Podsmansky, 6+ rebounds at plus 110. I talked about Pod a couple minutes ago. Same thing. No Draymond, no Steph last season. I think he had 6 rebounds in 4 of 6. Like him tonight against Houston. And then Brandon Miller, 25+ points. It's minus 140. He's playing the Knicks. There's no LaMelo. I thought about making this 30 plus, and I'm like, don't get greedy. He's gonna put up 18 to 20 shots tonight. We know that. But if it's a blowout like the books are expecting it to be, I'd rather feel safer at 25. These 4 legs are 20 to 1. I'm throwing my $50 no sweat bet on there. $50 no sweat bonus bet. It pays an even $1,000. If you don't have that, put a quarter of a unit on this. It's still 20 to 1. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had. We're going to get those cleaned up for Sunday. If you have any questions about the tickets, I will post them. I'll post them on Twitter. I'll post the full touchdown liquor cabinet on Twitter, along with the Cross Sport Lotto and my 1 units. Thank you for tuning in. We will get this fixed, and I'll see you Sunday.